Hey everyone! So this is something that I wanted to talk about after seeing a pending post last night. Let me shut my noise off. It's just a really good reminder for those of you who have heard this, maybe forgot about it. I know for me, I need reminders for a long time before things stick. And then some of you may not even understand what the difference is between lavandin and lavender. They are actually different essential oils, and we're going to go through and I'm going to show you the differences between the two. All right, so first of all, let's take a peek at the thing that actually prompted this live when I saw the post come through last night, and I knew I had to schedule this live. So if you have any questions, let me know. But there was a product, and here is part of the product name here, and it's listing lavandin oil, orange oil, fern eater oil, eucalyptus oil, and cypress oil. And really the question was, I picked this up, but I'm hesitant to use as I thought eucalyptus was not safe for children. So Mary Beth did submit this question, and she is correct. Eucalyptus is not safe for children under the age of 10 years old, and that is due to the high levels of 1,8-cineol, one of the main constituents that's naturally occurring in eucalyptus. Doesn't matter what the brand is, a high quality eucalyptus essential oil will have high levels of 1,8-cineol included. So that unfortunately makes this not safe to use with children. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you is the ingredient list, and then we're going to go over the differences between lavandin and lavender. So here we have jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, orange peel oil, Siberian fir needle, eucalyptus, lavandin, and cypress and tea tree. So I do want to point out the orange peel oil is probably sweet orange and probably safe to use topically without risk of phototoxicity. It is, however, possible that it could be one of the phototoxic oranges, or at least one that has the low topical max. Let me just pull up my spreadsheet right here. So we have the botanical name. It's super important to check botanical names, so I'm going to walk you through this. It can definitely give us a clue as to the direction we need to take safety-wise. Citrus aurantium dulcis is, let's see here, it looks like it could be a blend. Dulcis does indicate sweet, so I'm going to go with this is sweet orange. So let me just do one more thing right here just to double check. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a mashup of essential oils because that is not a botanical name that I have in my database. But just a consideration, if it were to be bitter orange or blood orange, it does have a topical max of 1.25%. So just to touch on that, fir needle is not safe to use with dogs, just FYI, in case you want to wash your dog with this. Just wanted to point that out. And then yes, eucalyptus oil, even the radiata, is not safe to use with children under the age of 10. Cypress is another one that is safe for children, not recommended to use with dogs. No, that is dog safe. So it's the fir that's not recommended with dogs, and it's a cypress that is dog safe. See, sometimes even I have to make sure that I'm looking it up and double checking the information. All right, lavandin. So as you can see here, the botanical name for the lavandin included is Lavandula hybrida. And that is lavandin essential oil, which is not the same as lavender essential oil. Let me just check this out here. So it may also go by Lavandula intermedia, Lavandula hortensis, Lavandin arborealis, Lavandin grasso, and Lavandin super. So there are several botanical names that are synonyms to lavandin essential oil. Like lavender, it does have a top middle note as far as the aroma. It is steam distilled. That is the extraction method. I do want to say too, just before I get too far, is that there is a lavandin essential oil and a lavandin absolute, and they both have the same botanical names, but the method of extraction is going to be different, where the absolute is going to be processed a little bit differently, where the lavandin plant is actually used instead of the flower, and it's going to be basically steeped in an alcohol base. So that's going to be a little bit different as far as the processing goes, and that only affects the topical max. So with the lavandin absolute, which it's not indicated here as to the extraction method, but just to let you know that that is a potential thing, it does have a 0.03% topical max based on that. So that is something that it's probably not the absolute that they've included in here. It probably is the essential oil. The unfortunate thing to an ingredient list like this is they just say oil. They're saving space by not using the word essential oil for all of these that are listed. But unfortunately, there's no regulation, so they can definitely do that. But here the oil does indicate essential oil most likely. They're not infused oils. I would love it if there would be some sort of industry standard where if you just say oil, then it's actually the infused oil that has an oil base and not an essential oil. And if you mean essential oil, say essential oil. All right, just a little bit of a soapbox for me. So we have lavandin, which does have an interaction if you are using aspirin. Lavandin, unlike lavender, is a blood thinner. So that is something you want to keep in mind when you are choosing your products. You want to make sure that you are in fact using lavender. We're actually going to go through the differences between the different 4 lavenders that I have here, but let's just keep this one simple and talk about Lavandin versus Lavender. Lavandin is a blood thinner, so it does have interaction if you are using aspirin or if you are on other blood thinners. It also has a contraindication because it's blood thinning if you are about to or just had surgery. So something to keep in mind there as well. So that is the big major difference between lavandin and lavender, is lavandin is blood thinning. All right. It is also not safe to use with dogs, whereas lavender is. All right. So we have a few different kinds of lavender. We have Bulgarian, we have French, and those are pretty interchangeable. They both have the botanical name of Lavandula angustifolia or Lavandula officinalis. Another botanical synonym for that is Lavandula vera. So if you see any one of those 3 botanical names, then you know you are using lavender, and that is going to be safe for you to use with all ages and with dogs as well. All right, so keep that in mind. The major constituents for lavender is going to be linalool or linaloyl acetate and linalool, whereas lavandin has more linalool. And that is just a fact for you geeks out there that like to know that information. It is also a top middle note. Lavender is with lavandin. I do want to point out though that Bulgarian and French, they are interchangeable with each other, but they're not the same as Spanish lavender or spike lavender. All right. So just moving on here to the safety again, lavender is safe for all ages to use. It is safe to use around your dog as well. Lavandin is also safe to use for all ages, but again, it is blood thinning, so it does have that safety factor in mind. Bulgarian and French lavenders do not have any topical max, whereas lavandin Absolute does have a 0.03% topical max. All right, so if you have the opportunity to choose lavender over Lavandin, please do. You don't have to worry about it interacting with aspirin, blood thinners, if you happen to cut yourself, if you're going to have surgery, a tooth extraction, anything like that. All right, so it does pay to pay attention to your ingredients. So hopefully, Mary Beth, this does answer your question as far as, is this safe for children because it has eucalyptus in it? It is safe for ages 10 plus, and it would be safe for people that are not on blood thinners or taking a baby aspirin or worried about their blood thinning. Now, there is no way to tell what the dilution is for this soap. I believe it's a soap. It is so it's a stuffy nose and cough essential oil blend. So that's what that is. And it is definitely pre-diluted, so it's more like a chest rub. So that is something to keep in mind. Honestly, I don't know that these would be the essential oils that I would choose for that situation. It just so happens that I do have a free personal inhaler for congestion, and I can add that to the comments after I'm done going live here. It's going to be more effective because it's going to have the best essential oils for congestion in it. Whereas these essential oils are not all of the essential oils I would use. I do like the Siberian fir needle. I think that is great with the tea tree. I think the orange is great too. Eucalyptus is just making it not safe for all ages. All right, so now that you know the difference between Lavandin versus Lavender, I wanted to give you the differences between the 4 lavenders. So I already mentioned Bulgarian and French lavender, which can be used interchangeably, safe for all ages, safe with dogs, no topical max, no safety issues as far as contraindications or interactions. But when it comes to Spanish lavender, Lavandula stoichus, and then spike lavender, Lavandula latifolia, and Lavandula spica. Now, those are botanical synonyms. Those do have different safety issues. Spanish lavender is high in camphor. Spike lavender has quite a bit of 1,8. Well, it doesn't have quite a bit of 1,8-cineol, but it does have some 1,8-cineol. Not enough to flag it for not being safe with children, but it does have that cineol type of aroma, which is making it distinguishable between the other two as far as the scents go. All right, so Bulgarian and French are your typical lavenders that you would expect to have that are high in calming therapeutic properties and safe for all ages. We have Spanish lavender that's got a more camphorous smell. And then we have spike lavender that may smell similar to regular lavender, but it's going to have that 1,8-cineol, a little bit of a eucalyptus smell to it. Spanish lavender is not pregnancy safe, it is not breastfeeding safe, and it is not safe to use with your dogs. Spike lavender is also not safe to use with your dogs. Spanish lavender has an 8% topical max. That is due to the camphor content. And spike lavender has a 19% topical max due to camphor content also. It does not have as much, which is why you can use more of it. And then we have the contraindications. So both Spanish lavender and spike lavender have a contraindication with epilepsy. It is potentially convulsant, and that is due to the camphor content, which can be neurotoxic. It messes with the nerves, again, potentially convulsant. So if you have epilepsy, this is definitely these two. Spanish lavender and spike lavender are ones that you want to stay away from. So hopefully this helps you with understanding the differences between Lavandin, Lavandin Absolute, which has a super low topical max, not even worth diluting because you'll probably not even smell it very much, right? 0.03%. Then we have Bulgarian and French lavender, Spanish lavender, and spike lavender as well. All right. I have some comments here. I don't know who this is. French lavender is not Lavandula angustifolia. French lavender is Lavandula dentata, nothing like angustifolia. They are totally different plants, different properties, different characteristics. So those would be different species. So typically, French lavender is grown in France. If this type of lavender is grown elsewhere, then it's not going to be French lavender. We definitely want to make sure we are going by the species, by the botanical name. So if Lavandula dentata is something that you are purchasing, it's going to be different than the Lavandula angustifolia that we are talking about right here. There is actually way more lavender sold as an essential oil than is even grown. So we know that there's going to be some funky business in the industry. That's why when we did our third-party testing about 10 years ago, we chose tea tree, because at the time they were telling us anywhere between 200 and 400% tea tree was sold versus grown. So there's definitely a little bit of monkey business going on as far as, okay, if only this much is grown, yet this much is sold, they're either diluting it, contaminating it, adulterating it, something is going on here. So I know lavender being a super popular essential oil, demand and supply, it's going to be a thing. It may be difficult to grow, which is why they are now looking at other species. Lavandin has camphor too. They're all intermedias. Yes, Spanish has a high camphor content, but it smells nothing like lavender. No one who grows lavender would use it. Totally agree. Yeah, it's not something that I would recommend either. And yeah, essential oils have dozens, often hundreds of separate constituents, and so they all may contain camphor. They all may contain lavandin, linalool acetate, just in varying amounts, which is going to mess with the aroma. All right. Now, if you guys are interested in me putting together a free downloadable printable cheat sheet that explains the differences between the lavandins and lavenders, go ahead and let me know if that's something that will be helpful for you. It's not something that I want to go ahead and create if there's no interest, but if there is, leave me a comment and let me know. If you are watching this replay later on and you have any questions, go ahead and leave your comments. Mary Beth, I hope this was helpful for you and probably gave you some information that you didn't even know you were going to get, because your question was about eucalyptus and I'm like, wait a minute, this has lavandin in it? Like, that is not okay. So I hope this was useful. If it was, please leave me a comment and let me know, and make sure that if there's anyone else that needs to know this information, you let them know this is here, okay? Thanks.